Damn, girl, where have you been all my life? You're the shining light in the gaming darkness that I needed.
Goddamn right I am.
You make me feel alive and like bringing pure chaos to the battlefield.
You know, I thought we were having a moment.
So far in 2025, there really hasn't been anything to get excited about in the gaming world, so I decided to take a step back and patiently wait for something to jump out at me. And during my brief hiatus, I discovered this beautiful ass right here. Look at that thing.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Serious note, during my brief hiatus, I have seen comment after comment positively praising this game right here, Marvel Rivals. I guess I was too busy during holiday season between Christmas things and making my yearly wrap-up videos that this one really slipped by me and I didn't even come across it. Over the last couple weeks, I decided to jump into Marvel Rivals, or should I say swing/ferociously jump my way into this superhero arena battle game. Which leads me into this video here today. I'm gonna dive into Marvel Rivals and tell you if I think it's worth the hype or not. Before we begin, real quick, as always, let me take a second to thank all of you wonderful people that have subscribed over the last 10 months or so. It means the world to me, and with that in mind, I'm setting a new high goal of 5,000 subs to hit by the end of 2025. So if you aren't already subbed and enjoy the content today, maybe consider sticking around by hitting that sub button and helping me out on the channel. Anyway though, let's get back to the video. When I first booted up this game, I get hit with a very artistic styled menu, and I thought to myself, why the heck wasn't I hyped about this game months ago? I mean, I love Marvel a lot, maybe this one just wasn't advertised the best, and like I said, I just never came across it, unfortunately. While the menu is artistic, it does resemble Fortnite a lot though, in my brutally honest opinion. Not exactly a bad thing or anything, I just think they could have designed this one a little bit differently to not look so obviously copied. Before we get to the gameplay itself, I feel like I must go over the heroes that they brought to the table for this one. For starters here, to my knowledge at the time of me playing this and recording this, there are about 35 heroes to choose from. On paper, even when I say that now, it doesn't really sound like an overwhelmingly high number, but as you play this game more, 35 is more than enough to keep the gameplay fresh all the way through here. For reviewing purposes, for instance, I spent at least an hour with every single character to check them all out before I made this video. I still don't even think an hour is anywhere near enough time to talk about all 35 heroes. But I mean, if you think about it, I mean, an hour apiece is already 35 hours of gameplay just from that alone. Talk about replayability though, like if you want to master all these characters, you're going to be spending some time on this one. Back to the artistic direction Marvel Rivals took, it was a great choice in my opinion. It looks very unique and all the heroes themselves are all very spot on. I know they're technically like generic versions of the superheroes we know and love on the big screen, but I think they did a lot better than this stupid game right here.
This contest should only be for the real fans.
And the mob, and the press, and the whole world tell you to move. You plant yourself like a tree beside the river of truth, and you say no. You move.
What?
It honestly felt like I was playing like an interactive fighting version of Marvel Snap, the great card game that came out a couple years ago. What I mean by that is instead of playing the cards themselves that the heroes have like all these unique abilities, instead of playing the cards, you're actually on the battlefield fighting with these cool unique powers. And as you'd expect, the cool powers themselves are what carries this game all the way to the top of the food chain right now in the gaming industry, if you ask me. They divide the characters into 3 categories: Vanguards, aka tanks, duelist, and strategist. I'll admit I'm the type of player that jumps into a game with almost zero idea of what is going on, and for this specific game, I was very overwhelmed and confused at first because there is a lot going into this. Not a bad type of overwhelmed or anything, just for me, it's more fun figuring it out as you go and learning from your mistakes, and mistakes I definitely made. Anyway though, let me deep dive into this a little bit more to minimize your confusion if you're new to this game. First up are the Vanguards themselves, which I think are definitely more brute damage sponge oriented. They are heavily equipped with health most of the time, and they are aggressive, hard-hitting people that will push the enemy lines back if you're good with them. And like I said, they do take an incredible amount of damage before they die. It can even be laughable at some points how many times they can get hit. Duelists are next on the list, and they are probably the heroes that I struggled with the most to get used to. Even sitting here right now, I think they are meant to be a more well-balanced middle ground characters that excel at one-on-one combat, like the name Duelist suggests. Personally, these were probably the heroes that I enjoyed the least, but that's what makes the game special. It all comes down to the style of player that you are and what fits you best. And last up are the strategists. At first glance, you will see their small amount of health and question their existence in this game. The strategists in this game, though, might be the most important heroes on the entire battlefield. In all seriousness, maybe even too important sometimes. We can touch on that a bit later, though, when we fully jump into the gameplay side of things here. Strategists, though, in general, are more of like healing characters during the battle. They are more defensive oriented than the offensive side, but this game does a great job of allowing them to hold their own in certain situations when it does come to combat. And of course, outside of the character section, there's stupid microtransactions in this store tab, my favorite tab, let me tell ya. I'm someone that hates this stuff, but I don't really care much when it's in a game that's free overall. Only time I'd really touch on something here during a free experience is when a price for a specific thing is outrageous. Don't get me wrong, $20+ for one character skin is idiotic, but sadly that's just the typical price that comes along with games nowadays. There's a battle pass, of course, here too, because nobody can come up with anything different anymore, and they do have tournaments in this game as well, which I thought was a neat addition. Something that they didn't have to put in, but they did, and I appreciate that. I do think that is about it for the menus though, so let's get into the important thing, gameplay itself. First thing I love when you're ready to jump into a match is the almost zero wait time that you will queue up for most of the time. Might be something small to feel so positive about, but I absolutely love jumping in from match to match almost instantly, and it was pretty much like 90+% of the time. I barely waited. When you get into the match itself, you're given a short period of time for everyone to select their characters and form a team of 6, and it will be a 6-on-6 battle that you will go through. Personally, I suggest you take a step back here and look at the team that your team has assembled and pick your hero based on like their choices. The game does give you a slight boost in extra abilities for heroes that mesh up together, like for instance Black Widow and Hawkeye, or Iron Man and the Hulk, or Venom and Spider-Man. So like I said, I would pick your characters and pick them wisely. I do think it was really cool that they decided to go with this feature that gives you that little boost for characters that do mesh together in the Marvel Universe. This does lead into the whole teamwork aspect of this game, and it really does promote it. In my experience, the more well-balanced your team is with the class choices, the better chance you have of absolutely dominating, and you will dominate if everyone meshes well together, I promise. After your choices are made, you get to hang out with your teammates about 30 seconds or so before the battle begins. I only bring this up because there are plenty of times the characters will interact with each other and talking about some nonsense.
Peter, have you ever wondered if you're doing the right thing? You know, going out every night, putting your loved ones in danger?
Every time I put on the mask, Penny, we have a responsibility. Someone has to stand up to all the bullies out there.
As a comic movie lover, I always love this extra bit of content between characters, especially when the characters talking don't really interact much in the Marvel Universe.
How do you contain such vast energy as the weather?
If I tried to contain it, I wouldn't last long. I channel it.
Yes, it is the same with me and life energy.
And then when you unleash the power, there's nothing like that in the world.
But here we go though, the battle is about to begin in 3, 2, 1.
Avengers!
Assemble.
As you drive your way into combat, every single battle feels so different at its core, which is most of the thing that I love about Marvel Rivals at the end of the day. Most of the heroes have about 4 to 5 abilities to choose from during battle. Some of them have a couple fewer and some of them have a couple more, but I would say on average about 4 to 5 is a safe bet. In the lower corner of the screen as you fight your way through, your top superpower you'll get about twice per match is really what puts this game over the top for me. It makes all these characters feel very individualized, and I think it's a great addition where like this powerful move is really good for most of these heroes. But let's again begin with the vanguards here on the front lines. Venom enters with all his symbiote glory. He's able to uniquely climb up walls to escape, and he gets the elevation with the advantage from the climbing up the walls. Then a Captain America type with his full bravery and full speed charge into war with his trusty shield. Him and Doctor Strange are both gifted with super powered shields almost that come in handy big time when needed. Then the duelists, like I said, I struggled a bit to figure them out for a little while, but once you do, you'll understand that they're more here to be like very unique to the characters themselves. Like vanguards themselves are really just meant to like hard hit and take some damage no matter what the actual character is individually. Yes, they do have unique powers, but like at the end of the day, that's their goal. But duelists though, I feel like they really did a good job here of just like whatever character you pick is kind of the style of play that you go for. Like Black Panther, for example, he is super agile and overwhelming to fight one-on-one when he terrorizes you with those vicious claw attacks. Then Iron Man, who's also a duelist just like Black Panther, but as you can see, he is way different. He flies around the map, picking off the opposition one by one from a high up distance. Your goal with him is really just to get a good spot here to flank, and in my opinion, this dude is ridiculously powerful as a hero individually. But then in the same class, you have characters like Hela or Hawkeye that rely on long-range combat in order to succeed. On the ground though, not like in the air is what I'm trying to say. It's just the whole mix of everything coming together at once that makes Marvel Rivals so special as a game. And speaking of meshing together, that does result in some absolutely over-the-top chaos sometimes, and in my opinion, that makes this game so much fun, and I love it, and I'm laughing thinking about it. Like I said, it might not be a good thing for you, but it really gets the blood pumping for me when you're in the middle of this battlefield and everyone's just hammering away on all these damage sponge superheroes together. But let's lead into my negative portion. It's not a very big portion, I can tell you that, which is a good thing, but this is not a perfect masterpiece by any means. There are some small negatives that do hold it back from the top of like a 10 out of 10 for me. While on the topic of all the heroes, I do think there is a major balancing issue that comes along with this one. Certain characters are way better than others, as I briefly touched on already, and then there are a few characters that are sadly completely useless in my eye, like Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, who is arguably the most powerful hero in the Marvel Universe, and then sadly Spider-Man got the short end of the stick too. If I had to choose right now, those are my top three useless characters in the entire game. And then the opposite side of things, heroes like the Incredible Hulk, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Storm with that annoying ass tornado move are basically all unstoppable at times. Oh, and I can't forget my favorite Marvel character overall, and in my opinion, the #1 underrated character in Marvel Rivals, Venom. If you pair Venom up with a reliable healing teammate or two, the opposing team might as well just stay in their spawn and surrender. There were dozens of matches that I did not die a single time, and I'm talking like the entire time on the front lines in the battlefield. Hell, my second match ever on this game when I didn't die once, and I had zero clue what was even going on yet. So yeah, definitely some balancing issues plague this game and can be exploited to ruin the experience if people know what they're doing, which kind of leads into my next negative here, and that is the teamwork aspect itself of this game. Yes, I do love it, but relying on teammates to know what they're doing can really suck sometimes. I promise when you get put on a team with players that don't play their roles correctly, this game goes from like a 9 or a 10 out of 10 gameplay experience down to like a 2. It's a living nightmare when you're the only one pushing the enemy team, because good luck with that one no matter what character you pick, maybe minus Iron Man, but even so, if they're all targeting you up in the sky, you're dead. But really though, minus those couple smaller things, Marvel Rivals is really a fun experience at its root. And I think at the end of the day, it's safe to say that I love this game, and I think you should truly give it a go. So look, I'm not someone that chooses Marvel or DC when it comes to the comic book universe. I'm not like on one side. I love them both for what they are. I will say though, it is sad to see from a DC side of things that Marvel has killed them in the cinematic universe up to this point, and now they drop another hit video game title to go along with it, while DC tries to shove out bullshit like that Suicide Squad garbage last year. But yeah, if you can't tell by now, my overall opinion is Marvel Rivals lives up to most of the hype that it does get. No, I don't think this game is a legendary 10 out of 10 like some people out there say, but putting it in the 8 or 9 territory is just fine to me. If you're a superhero fan that enjoys a game like Valorant, for example, you'll more than enjoy this game, I promise. The game has been so much fun that I think I'm gonna make a top 10 heroes list as well to try to help you out to like get an advantage on the battlefield. If you did enjoy today's video though, or want to see that future video and much more after that in 2025, while you're here, make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay updated on all that content coming to the channel soon. And if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a like. It helps me out a ton, and I also highly appreciate it, so why wouldn't you want to let me be happy, baby? I hope you have a great rest of your day though. That's it from me. See ya.